My name is Patrick Marlette, the Shop Troll, and this is the SSK 001, 003, and 005. For weekly shop content, feel free to subscribe to the Windup Watch Shop YouTube channel, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to throw it a like. The Seiko 5 Sports line marks the start of many a watch enthusiast journey. For myself, pre-SSK, my journey started with the Orient Mako, which very quickly was turned over and went towards a Seiko SKX 009. No offense, Orient, you make a fine watch. However, this piece, or rather this case reference, really caught my eye. This case in question has been in Seiko's catalog since the late 1970s, with the Quartz 7548 7000 and 700B, and in the hands of thousands since, in a variety of mechanical and quartz-powered options, but never quite like this. In for review is the Seiko SSK 001, 003, and 005, which I've conveniently arranged for you. We have a black, blue, and orange dial option. But what's most notable about this SSK range is the 4R34 automatic GMT movement inside. That's right, I said GMT. This has been spoiled for a month at this point, but it's still exciting to say that. Its features include an independently adjustable hour hand, hacking, hand winding, and a 41-hour power reserve, sounding very familiar with that 4R movement. Other features include a Hardlex crystal, friction fit 24-hour bezel, stainless steel case, and 22mm bracelet. The cases for the new SSK GMTs measure 42.5 millimeters in diameter, 46 millimeters from lug end to lug end, and a mere 13.6 millimeters thick. Lastly, these latest GMTs in the Seiko 5 Sports lineup will come in at $475. Now, as I like to do, I'm going to cover the bad, the good, and provide you my verdict on these latest SSK GMTs. But it's important to note that tastes are subjective. Mine and yours might not align, and that everything to follow from here is purely anecdotal. So, let's rip this watch apart. I'd like to think we've come a long way from 2019 and the discontinuation of the SKX line, but I know it's still a pain point for some that the latest dive watches from Seiko 5 are only 100 meters water resistant and lack a screw-down crown. Much like the SRP D series, the SSK GMTs feature only 100 meters water resistance and a push-pull crown. Now, I personally use all my watches with a 100 meter water resistance rating, screw or screwless in the water. It's totally fine by me. However, for some, this will be an issue. And if you're looking for a more professionally spec'd watch, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more climbing up the Seiko ladder to Seiko's Prospect line. The SSK GMT features a date, as one should. However, you'll notice the lack of a lume pip, or any lume at all, at the 3 o'clock position. No lume, for that matter, on the 24-hour bezel insert. Partly what makes Seiko so popular is their proprietary LumiBrite, a luminescent material that's, as its name suggests, very bright. Now, whether this affects your overall enjoyment of the watch is purely personal, though the lack of lume at the 24-hour position of the bezel eliminates it as an option for timing in low light conditions, something that people would practically want to use that for. Also, something that LumiBrite could certainly handle. Again, it is outrageously bright. If you've never owned a Seiko, it is a selling point. However, for those endeavoring enough, I'm sure a fully lumed ceramic bezel will hit the aftermarket very soon if it hasn't already, so I suppose you can wait for an alternative option. Alright, it's time to address the fourth hand in the room. No, the SSK does not feature an independently adjustable jumping 12-hour hand. In that sense, you can say that it is not a true GMT. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds here, as this has been a hotly debated topic for some time, but call it what you will, a collar, a not real GMT, an untrue GMT. This does feature an adjustable secondary 24-hour hand that's perfect for tracking secondary time zones. Honestly, finding anything comparable to this at any price point is really hard. So if this is going to be a sticking point for you, it being a collar GMT, then I would suggest saving your money on this watch and perhaps putting it towards something else. But now, on to the good notes. It's a mechanical GMT for less than $500. On a bracelet that hacks, hand winds, and looks like the much beloved SKX. I am extremely biased when it comes to my love of Seiko, and for a long time I only collected Seiko. So I'm going to try to curb some of that enthusiasm and just say this in regards to the SSK line of GMTs. It's a great starter watch, a good beater watch, a great only watch, or just another piece to complement that horde of watches you've amassed over the years. It's a stellar deal. But moreover, we now have a new GMT movement with the 4R34 that can make its way into other iconic watch cases. I am extremely excited for the possibilities of not only this lineup, but the movement in particular inside. But again, have you seen this Seiko 5 model? It looks so good. So much for curbing my enthusiasm. Now, for some, this will be a detriment, but for me, it is a prayer long forgotten, finally answered. I want every watch to feature a friction fit bezel. To me, these are the best options for any decorative insert. Count down, up, left, right, 12, 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever you wanted to put in that slot, this is the best option. Especially Seiko, and I love you, but I'm gonna have to do this for now. Just ignore me. I love Seiko, but you can't hear this next part. Sometimes the QC issues with their products aren't always the best. They can be a little spotty, in particular with the bezel inserts. But guess what? Won't get misaligned if it's attached to a friction fit bezel. Your bezel insert. Now, I know that numbers for this watch read as large, and honestly, a younger me once found that the SKX 009 was too thick. However, the more matured and seasoned watch enthusiast that I am now knows that the numbers were only ever a self-imposed restriction, and generally based on the opinions of others. There's a fear that you'll get something and not like it. Totally understandable, and this is true of any industry. As a matter of fact, that's why we turn to reviewers. We want a trusted opinion. I am fortunate to have owned and worn many a Seiko. I also happen to work for Worn & Wound, so there are Seikos in the office every day. Now, to me, the mid-case, the way the case back slopes on this model, and the companionship of the bezel with the mid-case and the case back make the overall feel of this watch on wrist a total knockout. And bear in mind, I have a 7¼ inch wrist, so it might even feel too small on me. But the way Seiko has proportioned this classic case is kind of perfect for any wrist. This might not be true for you, but I'm going to encourage you, if interested, to give this watch a try. Odds are likely that the aftermarket on this range of watches will be more than favorable if you can find one. So I wouldn't be too concerned over picking up a watch and not liking it and being stuck with it. Historically speaking, it's odd to say, but the SKX had always held its value, new or old. So best thing to do is try this out if you're concerned about the numbers. And if you don't like it, at least you'll have learned something new that you didn't know before. And now for the verdict. You've likely figured out that I'm a huge Seiko fan. I only admitted as much during this video, but did I think that I would, going into this year, be buying 2 new Seiko watches? No, but I'm considering it now. Only a brand like Seiko could throw down such a compelling offering with the likes of the SSK 001, 003, and 005 at the mind-boggling price of $475. The only thing I find missing from this collection is an SSK 009 Pepsi to go along with the SKX 009 that got me into this hobby so many years ago. Fortunately, I still have this modded 009 to tie me over until some such watch comes out. Thank you for joining me on another Windup review. Be sure to jump on over to our Windup watch shop to check out the latest offerings from Seiko, our EDC collection, and so much more. Again, my name is Patrick Marlette, and thank you for the time.